Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Headspace podcast. That's the name of the show. We'll be reviewing Czarface Meets Ghostface today. That's Czarface, the group, meeting Ghostface Killah, the rapper creating the album Czarface Meets Ghostface. My name is HSR.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And we review albums here. Just because somebody asked what is the Headspace podcast, so I figured maybe I should do a better job of explaining it. You know, adapting to the feedbacks and all. So what we do here, for those of you who want to skip this shit, you can check the description of the video and see exactly when we start talking about the album. But we go through the album track by track with the goal of appreciating albums, because that is something people don't seem to be doing a lot of these days, especially in an era where many folk want to talk about how nobody's releasing real hip-hop no more. So I feel like it's become almost my personal mission to prove everybody wrong. Because as you'll see in this album, which came out in what year, Chris? What year did this album drop?
2019.
What year is it that we're in?
2019.
Would you qualify this, a little spoilers, as real hip-hop?
Yes.
You know what those hip-hop heads claim they want?
This?
Yeah, there you go. It came out this year. Stop saying that the mumble rappers is everything. Go listen to the good shit and promote that. Stop hating and show some love. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, now that little rant's over, I hope I didn't piss anybody off. But that's what we like to do here. Now, I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but I'm trying to learn a lot. And we do this a lot. So we have when it comes to new albums, I'm 100% certain there's some dope shit that's come out recently. Some lyrically profound dope shit. Still, we're not experts, but we do listen to them, and we just want to give our thoughts and opinions. So with that, it's an open invitation that if, as we're going through the project, we see some dumbass shit because we understand that this is some deep jargon-filled stuff, well, feel free to correct us or work with us and all that. That totally open to any kind of criticisms. In fact, last week, we spoke about the Insane Clown Posse's Fearless Fred Fury. And on that album, I got a comment from the dad who at first said he wanted to dislike the video. And I was like, cool, thanks for checking it out. I mean, you can dislike it. In fact, it looks weird if nobody dislikes a video. You know, you almost have to have a couple of dislikes for authenticity's sake. And then we talked a bit, and I'm like, I try hard to be open about my ignorance at the beginning. And then he's like, my favorite comment of last week came, the Dark Carnival is God in a sense. We receive messages from the carnival through Joker cards. Joker cards are an echo of our lives. The carnival comes from those who are demons. I could go on for hours. Please do. I would love to watch that video, dude. Each card comes with a resonating message to all who choose to listen. And I'm like, that's cool. That was a really helpful comment. You know, sitting here, I'm like, man, I bet he was real mad or something at first, but that was super helpful. And so I really like comments like that, because then the next time I talk about that shit, I sound less ignorant. And ultimately, isn't that the goal in life, at least for me, to grow and to be less ignorant over time?
Well, it's part of our journey on what we do here.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's a public journey. It's from stupidly ignorant to hopefully profound and wise over time. That's the goal of hearing the message behind the music, but specifically focusing on albums, because the more I learn about music, it's like making singles and making albums and then judging artists based on singles without hearing albums. Oof, that could lead to a lot of misconceptions, is what I've learned. In many cases, the singles are the worst songs on the albums. Anyway, before we jump into it, special thanks to the patrons: Chris Prado, Super Old School 1994, Ismail Gadamsi, Lindo, Williams, and Carl. So we'll talk a bit about that at the end. And why don't we get into it, Chris? Who are we reviewing today?
Well, for this week's Headspace review, we're doing Czarface Meets Ghostface
Killah. Motherfucking Ella! Anyway, so this is the part of the show where we like to contextualize how familiar we are with the artist. And the reason we do that is because your journey with an artist is going to change a lot of what you hear when you hear an album. How old you are matters. All those demographic-y shits. So if you're a brand new fan and you don't really understand the music, what you're hearing might not be the same thing as if you've been following Wu-Tang for 20 years and you're super into Esoteric's flows and 7L's production blows your mind and all of that shit, right? Maybe that's who you are. Wow, I just can't believe I said who you is. Maybe that's who you are, and that is something you've been at for a while. I can tell you one thing: your appreciation of this album will be more profound than mine, simply due to your knowledge and understanding. However, if you're like us, where maybe this is a lot newer, you have limits to how much you can appreciate and understand. So that's the whole point of this, is just to kind of just encourage that level of like relative thinking. Not everyone gets everything, and I don't know, hopefully we can provide some cool insight or at least appreciation or something. For me, we've reviewed quite a couple of Ghostface albums. We reviewed Czarface Meets Metalface, so we've already heard a bit of the Czarface sound. We reviewed some, I don't know, Wu-Tang. I can't say I'm a profound expert on anything by any means. Please don't come at me like I really know a lot about the Wu world. But personally, Ghostface Killah is one of my favorites in the Wu-Tang at this point. His imagination blows my mind, and every time I hear his voice, it's a pleasure. Inspected Deck is deep, and I really appreciate that about him. And I don't know a lot about Esoteric. I heard him on the fucking last album we reviewed with Czarface on it, and I just had to say, like, my overall impressions coming into this is that, like, I had a good idea of what it was going to be. Like a certain sound, almost like a classic hip-hop sound, heavy, dense rhyming, and like really just, it's going to be that. And if you're in a mood for that, damn, you're in for a treat. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was actually really excited. I know it's a bit late, but I was excited to be able to talk about this project coming into it even. What about you?
I was excited to do another Czarface album. I really enjoyed the last one. That was the collaborative one with MF Doom, and I've also kind of grown to like MF Doom a little bit. So I do like the cartoony feel that they have, that type of like super villainy, wanting to build this like fictional hip hop character. So that was really cool. So I was pretty much excited to listen to the album. Ghostface, like, we've reviewed some Wu-Tang albums. I've heard some of his songs. I've reviewed some of his albums. Me myself, I'm not really like heavy knowledgeable about like the whole Wu-Tang Clan and what they do and whatnot. And it's more of an introduction for me, so I'm kind of trying to listen to them more and trying to like understand what they do and kind of where they come from and all that stuff, but I'm still struggling a little bit. So I knew that there would be certain things on this album that I might not quite understand. But I also know that there's going to be a lot of punchlines, a lot of like kind of in your face, kind of not like really like super extreme rowdy, but like heavy energy through the album, and that's what I kind of like to listen to. So
yeah, I like the title. It kind of makes it sound like this is almost like a battle of supervillains of sorts, or heroes. I don't really know. For those of you who are the more militant fans, okay, I know you're going to show up in the comments, and that's cool. So I don't really know if they're heroes or villains. I'm kind of with that. It just makes me...
Czarface is a villain.
Right.
And, like, I think it's a creative way of doing,
I don't know if Ghostface is a hero, though.
But Ghostface claims to be Iron Man, and I feel like because they're both, like Czarface is made out of metal, MF Doom has a metal face, and Iron Man, like, there's this whole, like, there can only be one metal face type thing.
That's fair. I like that. Either way, I like the idea of them doing it, because when you think of the Wu-Tang and you think of the recording process of how everybody just had to have the best verse to get on the song, and so you just picture it. I mean, we can get into that in a little bit, but that cover is just great, man. It's just like Ghostface decked out in like superhero form, and then Czarface's like metal body ready to come back and slash out, and you just want to open up that comic book. I mean, listen to that album, and it's really exciting.
No, but even saying like a comic book, like I was just looking at it, like it does look comic booky. Like you'd want to read it and see how, like, visually see what's going on.
And so it really does a great job, in my opinion, of like framing what this album is going to be. Like just bars, you know, about who's the best, about who really can have that claim. It's almost like a battle where you're supposed to be left to almost decide at the end. Is it Czarface? Is it Ghostface? You know, you want to know. But I like it. It really had me hyped when I realized that this album was coming. So yeah, you want to jump into it?
Let's go.
All right, the first song is called Back at Ringside.
Formidable opposition, and they say that every hero...
So you got that boom, 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 kind of like bass line that just pulsates over. You got that little like announcer voice kind of setting some shit up for you. You know, heavy is the crown in the kingdom of madness, greatest intercontinental heavyweight champion of all time. Unjustifiably in a position I'd rather not mean. Mean Gene Okerlund, and I'm talking about Czarface, yeah. Very wrestling-y, very much like it's a WWE presentation in terms of tone and delivery. And it just builds it up and introduces Czarface, you know, and sets you up. And then Ghostface, the Iron Man, coming in, like, in this corner and in that corner. Oh,
well,
shit.
I feel like he calls him out. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he's like, hey, you, Ghostface, you claim yourself to be Iron Man. Like, I feel like he's instigating him.
That's fair. I didn't catch that. That's a cool point. And then, yeah, it flows into that all-star feeling my G. You should see the team. I don't know what that's sampling. I don't know if that's fresh, but it just is the perfect way to outro that little bit. And it just sounds cool. It's got this funky bass line. And, like, something I've been really decided is, as far as album introductions go, my main requirement now is that A, it's sonically and fun to listen to, but B, that it does its job of like introducing the world of the album. Whether that's just a strong song to catch your attention, or whether it's something more imaginative like this, where you kind of get the entire premise of what this album's supposed to be right off of this idea. Like, it's a wrestling match. This is Ghostface versus Czarface. Let's go. You know? And then you're not expecting the deepest concepts from that point on. You're just expecting some fucking hard-hitting rhymes. And that's what this album's supposed to be. So, in light of setting me up and managing my expectations correctly while sounding dope, while being something that's kind of fun, like, you want to hear this when you go into this album because it does hype you up. You're like, all right, let's get it. Come on, Ghostface, drop that dope line in that first verse of the next song. You know what I mean? 4.5 on 5 for me. I really fucking enjoyed this.
For me, I guess I have like a very extreme imagination and whatnot, because whenever I look at the cover of the album, and it's very creative and cartoony like, and the way that the song started, it kind of gave me, like, I was looking at one of the old school kind of cartoons where they're like kind of like layering parts of the city and they're just a narrator talking, and I like that type of imagery. I like how they're able to use the sounds and the beat and the vocal effects to create that, like, to be able to, I guess, allow me to create that in my head. So that was really cool. I like how they're introducing each other. Like I said, Czarface kind of, I feel like he's kind of on this mission to be like Mr. like the super villain, right? The best one. So I feel like he kind of instigates Ghostface into, you know, wanting to battle and whatnot, because he goes, and Ghostface, you call yourself the Iron Man. Let's see how you hold up in a steel cage match. Like, he's kind of, I feel like he's just kind of being like, yo, I'm going from like city to city, taking out all these rappers and taking out all these people who claim to be like, again, metal faced, like just that Iron Man typey feel, I guess. Like, there's this, I don't know, it's just an important part of it. But for me, I left it at a 4. I found it was a good intro.
It was a great intro. And then it leads perfectly off into Face Off with Ghostface Killah. Okay.
On my silk road, my custom cake, smoke clouds, I disappear in the vape.
All right, Chris, how do you feel about this song?
Well, right off the bat, Ghostface kind of just takes over the verse right away, and it was cool. He had that energy, he had that flair. I really liked how, you know, he kind of starts off, he's like, turn my mic up, and the verse drop, turn the bass off, dangerous material spread like venereal. Like, he's already kind of going into these kind of like raw little punchlines, and he's giving us that, like, again, I guess he's kind of playing this character, right, in the theme of this album. So I kind of see this, like, you know, malicious character whatnot coming off. So that was pretty cool. I like how he kind of addresses that he's kind of still the same, like, people coming out the woodwork, same voice, same mask, same stove, trying to cook. We don't count the same cash. When the sky starts to flicker, we wait for the flash. Like, there's this essence of kind of being still authentic to himself, which was really cool, that I enjoyed.
But also, like, even though you guys can do the same thing, and there are people like Action Bronson who may as well just be Ghostface Killah as far as what their sound is, right? And like, I think he's trying to establish that his quality is so much better, in the same way that whether he's selling dope per se or dropping rhymes, it's going to be that much better money that comes in on the same effort.
Absolutely. I also like how, again, with that kind of, and again, it could just be my imagination, but the imagery I'm getting from like boom, thunderbolt sounds, the blast, rhinestones on my silk robe, my custom cape, smoke clouds, I disappear in the vape, vacate seaside, complete our mission, Gucci sailboats, suede slippers, Louis edition. Like, I like how he kind of grouped in this like whole lavish life, rich, we got money, we kind of out here, you know, but in this way, like disappear in the vape, like you're kind of smoke bombing out of there, and you're being all like mysterious. So that was really cool. He really held up that characteristic for me. In verse 2, we got Inspector Deck. I like how he kind of goes like, can he rhyme or what? And right away I was thinking like, are you questioning Ghostface? Are you questioning yourself? Like, are you making like a joke? Like, I'm assuming Czarface, right? Since like they're collaboratively together.
I think it's more like he's being braggadocious, like, yo, what kind of a question is this? You're going up against this. Are you going to step up to the plate? Can you rhyme? Can you handle it? You know, what's up? You're
Right.
dealing with professionals. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
But I did enjoy Inspector Deck's verse. I like when he was like, pull up to the drop, pull up the drop top, the block pop, the cops watch, nobody move like the clock stop. I'm in the chop shop, harder than a Scotch shot, 24/7. That's nonstop. Like, I like how, again, he's still kind of carrying this like boss mentality, kind of being the super villain. He starts off, from what I understood, his verse starts off like being super smart and like I got the illest bars and I'm really like genius type, and then he kind of loops into what his, I guess, what he kind of presents outside, and how he kind of like rolls through the street and nobody moves and he's kind of like controlling everything and whatnot. And then what I felt is, because, you know, Inspector Deck and Esoteric are essentially Czarface, they're supposed to be this one character. I feel like in verse 3, Esoteric is more of the violent side. There's kind of like, you know, like, wreck the one line, black a minor sign, blow holes in your chest, no vineyard vine design. That was pretty cool. I clicked on the annotation and I found it cool because it's a whale, so blow a hole in your chest like a whale. So
What the fuck is Vineyard Vines?
I don't know.
I guess it's a wine. I don't really know. I've never heard of that brand. Keep going. Sorry.
Anyway, but there was more of a like rap infuriated. Popcorn for free like we in the 99. Rap infuriated. Putting dots on your head like dying. I love war.
Dude, it's
need a reason to clash.
it's a clothing company and it's available in Montreal. Anyway, go on.
Nice. Need a reason to clash. So like there's this, you know, speaking of wreaking the havoc, like there's sense of more violent there. So I kind of like that energy. Plus his flow was really tight on this song. He kind of chopped it up a little bit, so that was cool. Overall, I do like the song itself. I think it was a great way to start off the battle between Czarface and Ghostface. I left it with a 4.2.
I really liked it. And as a song, I mean, Ghostface is just dope. He comes in harsh. Literally, like, the first line to me, just right away, you know it's gonna be one of those albums. Hey, yo, it's Czar vs. Ghost. We about to face off, and you almost picture the cover of the movie Face Off with like their two faces next to each other, and it's like Czar vs. Ghost. And then the fact that they both have face in the name, so they're about to face off, you know, it's just a clever line. I mean, I don't really need to convince you that Ghostface is clever. Obviously he is, but it's more when I listen to how tight they are and how like on point every syllable of their flow is, it just mesmerizes me how easy they really do make it sound. But what I also like is the willingness to like throw in some cool like historical context. Like, I kill tracks like my man Busta Rhymes on Scenario. So if you do come across this and you don't know Scenario, you might now go Google that shit and hear that dope ass track, which is, in my opinion, something a lot of people should hear. he just kind of rocks it. He's fucking dope. Chris quoted the other line I liked, and I just love the idea of him establishing quality in such an abstract way. My favorite part about Inspected Deck is just something I was just reading in the Gospel of Hip Hop I have over there by KRS-One, is how important like the DJ really is supposed to be to it, right? So the fact that it goes, Your Highness, like shouting out almost God or whoever. 7L is the next thing he shouts out, as in the beat maker, the producer, the one who's throwing, you know, the behind the scenes, is the first shout out that Inspected Deck gives. I thought that was really, really like cool. And something that maybe people should pay more attention to, I guess, is that how like important the beat maker really is, or the producer really is, in that finished sound. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially in the more pop fans. So I know you guys watching this probably do know that. I don't think a lot of people know that. I really liked that Gladiator, Hustle Crow, Homie, I Am Thus. I thought that line was just sick, right? Because instead of Russell Crowe, he flips it to Hustle Crow, because Russell Crowe is in Gladiator. And I enjoyed that. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much, but it was just like it hit me so good. And overall, it's just pretty cool. He flips up his accent again. And I really like how he's like 24/7, that's nonstop, and any vampire sound, we outrun that. Boy, your requires gunshot. I don't know if I can say either word, so I just skipped it. But like, basically, it's just power, you know? So like, there is a certain degree of intensity to him, but I do feel like I get what you mean. He feels more like the lyrical, like the genius side of it. And then
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And then like Esoteric comes in with the more severity. But let's be real. Czarface, that's a brand that you can trust. It reminds me of La Coca Nostra's album title, a brand you can trust. It's just in general, it's like the idea that it's a brand you can rely on. And you know what? I put trust in the Czarface's brand with this album, and they delivered. Fans Rush were your favorite rapper's man crush. And that's cool. I think that I would call this a rapper's rapper. Like, it's basically people who rap, who understand rap flows, who are really going to appreciate maybe the nuances, or like really deep fans that could like, truly get out. I think the nuances of why this is mad dope, because I don't think they're trying to be pop by any means, you know? And then really blew me away with Flow Customized, got that Dapper Dan touch, which is that like, you know, hair gel shit that would make you look dapper. And it's a good alliteration. I don't know, it's a dope track to me. I'm like, let's not forget about how crazy good the beat is. It's got like excellent production work. It has a lot of scratchings and shit in it, I believe. Maybe not this track in general, but overall it feels less like somebody just opened up Pro Tools and made a beat, and more like somebody put the time and effort into like constructing it the old-fashioned way. Maybe he did it in Pro Tools, but it doesn't sound like it was made so flashy like that. And I really appreciate that sound. So I gave it a 4.5. I mean, I can't say I'm going to go back to this as like a banger I'm going to listen to every day. But I also can say that I will go back to it like when I want a nice polished with sound engineers version of that 90s sound. I like it. It's really cool to me. I don't know. The next one though, it's Iron Claw.
Can't dress me with that bullshit. You ain't even my stylist. You acting all big now. But you ain't Christopher Wallace.
I like the little Kendra Morris hook that like, don't push me. Like it has a certain anxiety to it, like a certain tone that it's nice. Like it's sonically nice to listen to, but it just almost makes you feel just a little bit on edge. So that when the verses kick in, I almost feel like they hit extra hard, you know?
Well, I think that's part of the effect. I think that she's supposed to be this like little voice in, I guess this little voice in like a scenario where like, you know, like don't push me over the edge, don't do that. And then, you know, when the verses come in, they've snapped and they're
it's like
full killer.
And then it's like, you know, that these verses are like a warning to their foes. And keep in mind, they're taking, in my opinion at least, or the idea of hip hop battling and bringing it to like a superhero comic form, right? So in a sense, all of their shit is in this universe where they're literally like a like superhero villain battle about to go down and shit. And in that world, these people are kind of cocky and vain and shit, you know? So I really liked it. So like they're ready to snap, like, don't fuck with me. But then, Groundskeeper, how I touch green. I'm like, that's cool.
Verse 1, Inspected Deck.
Yeah. No love scenes. So graphic, I got a cut scene. Because, when it's about to be too much, they just cut to when it's done and everybody's putting their clothes back on. But his shit's so vulgar. I just, flows in from that, man. And, every line just kind of drops this great, powerful thing, but it's also got like a flow that I feel like was just slightly better than the last song. Just slightly better.
Well, I actually want to quote something. True, because I do it before I talk about it. Whole aura, cold water, global torture, black diamonds, blue dreams, gold Porsche. I'm always on go, all the lights green, general official. That's what the stripes mean. And that right there, I was just rereading it while you were talking. And to be honest, like, I like how he's kind of confirming, like, don't be talking shit if you've never done it. Like, don't be trying to claim certain things. And he's like, you have to do things before you speak about that. That's kind of what I take him from that line. That was cool. I like how he updates it with, like, you know, I got black diamonds, blue dreams. Maybe that's like a weed strain. You know, gold Porsche. Like, things that
Porsche.
Things that he has obtained, but, like, he waited to obtain before he can speak about it. I kind of like that type of mentality.
But it's also the OG nature to it, right? Like, he's a general official. That's what the stripes mean. And the stripes only come in a sense, like, you get scars or shit is one form of stripes through the experience of getting there. But then, you know, the literal military form of stripes and shit, or stars,
your respect on the street, your level in the gang.
And, you know, like, what you get, the notches on your belt. And it's like, because he's accomplished so much and been there, like, he's literally on Cream. Like, one of the seminal songs of fucking hip-hop. And he according to RZA, his favorite part is definitely Inspector Deck's verse, where he's like calling out like corrupt cops and shit, you know, like he's been around for a long time doing it, but still, like, his flow is just ridiculous. No publicity stunts before the album drops. What you see is real, what you heard is false. Don't listen to what people say. We're gonna drop the album and that's it. We'll tell you when it's coming. Done. And that's just real. Like, if you want the music, you'll go out there and get it. You're not gonna get something like, I don't know, this big old fucking Eminem campaign that you're getting with phone numbers and shit, and it's a publicity stunt. Or rapping the Venom song live from the Empire State Building. By comparison, Ghostface Killah and them is just dropping a project and letting it be. You know, like, I don't know. There's something to be said about that. Just that level of it. I think people don't realize, or at least not everyone cares about beyond the music, but for me at least, what the man does behind the music greatly impacts how I perceive the music.
Do you think that it's based on a level of where you're at? I'm not, and I want to make one thing clear. I am not saying
that.
I want to make one thing clear.
These guys couldn't do the same kind of crazy shit Eminem can.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I don't see Inspector Deck, Esoteric, and Ghostface out here doing that.
That's kind of the point.
No, and I know, but I'm saying, like, does that possibly say something? Like, does that because Eminem, right, is popular. Like, he has
to. But who's he popular with? Kids.
Right. So I feel like he kind of has to do this shit.
But it's like selling out.
I agree. I agree.
Mean, I'm sorry, but like the whole Empire State Building performance is with Jimmy Kimmel or whoever the fuck it was. Like, that shit's a bit sellouty. That's a little bit more like you want people to watch you more than you care about the album being able to sell itself on the merit of the album. I think that's what it's trying to, like, imply. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to say that... No, Venom was a bad song. I didn't like Venom by Eminem. I don't know. I thought the performance was nifty, but, like, really, when you really think about it, that's some next-level clickbait. That's all I'm trying to say about that. You don't get that here. Instead, you get lines like when Ghostface comes in, you can't dress me with that bullshit. You ain't even my stylist. You acting all big now, but you ain't Christopher Wallace. See your girl on her knees. She just doing a solid. And the funny shit, you ain't gonna do nothing about it. He's pulling out that you act in a certain way, but you ain't living that life. The same kind of shit, really.
Oh, but that's verse 2, Ghostface Killah, by the way.
I said Ghostface.
No,
I did say Ghostface.
Oh, my bad.
I see a girl on her knees. She just doing a solid, and you ain't going to be able to fucking do shit about it. See, I mean, it's not so much I'm fucking your girl here. It's more you talk a lot of shit. But if you were really real, how am I fucking your girl? That might be the only acceptable I'm a fuck your girl line I think I'm going to take from now on. If it's to call you fake because you claiming some shit but your girl's not loyal, that's different than I'm just fucking your girl. Now, it is different because these guys in a lot of the trappier side of shit are fucking your girl to be cool. He's fucking your girl to prove a point. I think that should be established there. Anyway, I really liked it. Esoteric on verse 3 also fucking kills it. Now, I feel like from a flow perspective, Esoteric has like a more interesting, tricky flow.
Yes.
But backs it up with some seriously good lines. Like, I got the filter of Bill Burr. I'm a rebel. I don't know if you ever heard Bill Burr talk, but that guy gives less fucks than Ghostface Killah. That's all I got to say about that. Don't come at me, Ghostface fans. I've seen what you guys have said in past reviews on my channel. You dumb like skinny jeans on a 42-inch waist. That's fucking. It's a good line. It's fucking funny.
But it's also relevant too, like the state of fashion, and everything. Like things are changing from what they're used to.
But it's just funny to listen to in general, right? He's like looking at this, like, you know what? Honestly, if you have a 42-inch waist, it might not be the best idea to wear skinny jeans. You can. Nobody's saying you can't. It just might not be the most flattering look, is what is being conveyed there. Anyway, I really enjoy the fact that these are like 3 really talented MCs doing their thing over an even better beat with a great hook. I give it a 4.6. I like it a little bit more than the last one.
I enjoy the song. Again, it's very heavy in the bars. Everybody kind of is still following suit in the characters that they've been playing. What I do like in verse 1 with Inspected Deck, there's a part. No, I already spoke about that part. My apologies, guys. But I do still kind of get that vibe from him, that he's more deep, like you were saying earlier. There isn't this much of like I'm gonna say psychotic, but like a dark, twisted side to Inspected Deck. He's more in terms of like really focusing on the bars. I like how he kind of goes, you'll get wiped clean with the countertop. How I'm working the beat, I'm like a housing cop. Like I like how he kind of throws it in there, you know, appreciating that he still makes the beats, and he's kind of reminding everybody like he's got other things that he works on as well. So that was cool. Ghostface really kind of stuck out, and really like that whole we're criminals on the night shift, and he's got that violent energy coming through him with the lyrics. And I think that here at the last part where he goes, see, these young boys will murder you, and none of these never heard of you. We pop a few things on a curb so two to have you stretched out laying vertical. And not only does he say that really cool, really dope, like, but I don't know. I don't know if he's talking to somebody. I don't know if it's just like kind of a general thing, but I like how he's reinforcing the fact that these, and for the line, see, these young boys will murder you. I feel like he's using that to say that a lot of the young rappers are saying they'll kill people, but he's kind of using it sarcastically. And then he follows up with, listen, me and my crew, we've seen some shit. We've done some shit. And now there's like a line that you're crossing that you don't know about. And that was really something that stood out to me. And then Esoteric, just, we quoted some lines already, but I do agree with Holden that his verse, his diversity and his flow is really cool. I'm really impressed by what he can do. I left the song with a 4.5.
All right, that's totally cool. I do feel that a lot of the songs are really consistent. So as we go through the feedback on, I'm not gonna just repeat myself on every track. So the next one is Czarrcade 87.
Simmons and Rick Rubin coming for the loot off top. No recouping the way they avoid you.
If you were to ask me what the general theme of this song was, I would say these MCs proving that they are better MCs than other MCs via creative rhyming, excellent wordplay, and how other MCs can't keep up with them. And that's what I meant. Like, I don't know that that's a compelling thing to repeat over and over again. Instead, I'd rather just look at how dope Esoteric sounds. Like, he comes in, like, you're just bouncing to this one. Like, you know, you just feel like you're showing, you know, like,
to it.
It's really nice. And then, like, right off the jump, talking shit about the leader of God, try to walk it back and fail, like, just obedient dog. This guy, you think he's real, but I think he's a fraud. Nah, you ain't a man of steel when you speak in its bow down, puny human, you the least of my problems. You just get the sense that, like, just imagine they are this like super villain in this comic world, and every other rapper is just like a pleb. You know, like when I say every other rapper, I mean a lot of these dudes. Now, let's say, well, on the mainstream, you guys might only see like 1% of the number of rappers in the city. Like we got like 1,000 rappers in Montreal, and you've heard of how many? Like 2 maybe in your whole life. Every city's got a lot of rappers, so just keep that in mind, that when they're talking about this, you may never even hear about the people that they're encountering with the kind of whack shit that they're doing. This isn't necessarily just the mainstream. It's people who exploit the culture and don't understand how to rhyme proper. And so you're basically kind of a human in comparison to their skill level, which is all that to say why that was pretty dope. I don't know, man. Inspector Deck comes back in, and I feel like he's just really fucking fun. You know, the same kind of thing. I don't know if, like, a lot of the lines in this really, really stuck out to me. I mean, they're dope. Like, yo, I didn't mean to hit you, man. My hand just slipped. Don't subscribe to your theory, man. I cancel it. I like my bills green like the incredible Bigsby. Enemies diss me. I add to their mythical history. It's all fly. It's all dope. It's braggadocious. It's don't fuck with me, I'll wreck you. And it's done really well. But I believe in this one, the highlight of this song is when Esoteric goes with a 1 and a 2, and an Inspected Deck just comes in, doesn't even break the flow. I reckon ruin it. I crush crews like Russ Simmons and Rick Rubin. And then they bounce off to the last one, and I just think the chemistry between them is absolutely ridiculous. The song is absolutely fucking ridiculous. I mean, if I thought I liked the last two, this one just elevated my liking. The beat was better. The flow was better. The rhymes is ridiculous. What else could I fucking want? I gave it a 4.75. It's too good to be true.
Nice. I like in verse 3, Esoteric, when he starts off, he goes, yo, Deck, why these rappers all abandoning ship? You don't know? I don't know. Fuck the cats and they click. Now, I'm got me questioning, like, are they talking to certain rappers who are like trying to cuss at them and tell them that they're better than them or whatnot, or are they starting to see that people are kind of like getting off classic hip hop? And that was something to think about. And I really think that there's this movement of, you know, bringing it back or trying to like keep it still around. And I like how they're focusing on that and wanting to kind of maintain that authenticity with themselves. That was cool. I like the song. I don't really have much to say about it. It does kind of follow suit with the album so far. I like their chemistry together, how they transition back and forth. I mean, it looks, kind of seems like you can tell they've been working together for a long time, that they're really having fun with it. The energy they carry is just really, really like genuine, very pure, very real. So it's really a fun song to bop to. The beat is more up, the instrumental is more upbeat and it's got this boppy feel to it. So that was great. The outro was okay. It wasn't like anything super, super crazy. They were just kind of giving shout outs to themselves and kind of like just shouting out Czarface. So that was cool. I left the song with a 4.3. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good song.
That's fair. Next up on the album, we will be talking about powers and stuff.
Yo, man.
It's like we have another verse, another song that kind of follows suit. Something interesting is PTSD because my son writes my features in Esoteric's verse, and then clearly you got some other kids going, Czarface, Ghostface, and some shit like that, and Czarface's powers and stuff. And so you could just almost like picture their kids goofing off in the studio, and then they got them to record this, and then it just kind of sounded really fun and shit. And I thought it really like complimented it. Now maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was just like adults who did it, but it really sounded like they got their kids in the lab, right?
For sure.
And I just thought, otherwise, it's fucking dope, man. Sarf, your best shit ain't better than his worst verse.
And
Czarface, a triple threat. He rhyme in third person, and he's cannibal, about to eat his third person. Now, it takes a lot of skill, in my opinion, to be able to do something like rhyme third person with third person and play the homonym game to not make it a lazy rhyme, because the meaning he used in each third person is completely different, and that makes it dope. Whereas maybe Rick Ross's overkill of 222s and shit was kind of a little lame to me. I also like the fact that like the cultural expanse that they bring in is just bigger than your average person. Like, I Dust Brothers, like early Beck. Now, like, just the fact that they're mentioning Beck and the Dust Brothers on, like, a fucking hip-hop track is really interesting to me, where you're not going to get that level of, like, understanding going on, you know? Overall, I just blitzes on through, and it's fucking really good. The chorus is aight. Inspector Deck is proper. I really enjoy listening to him, too. Can't say anything, like, overly struck out to me. I don't know. It was fine. Ghostface Killah kills it. I like how he's like, son, I walk through the night like a cat, like with a cat-like vision, precision. You get smashed with a head-on collision. Because I look at the cat sometimes and realize that they don't see things the same, but they are pretty accurate when they swipe at shit. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Overall, it was really just fun to listen to. Plus, we bear arms burners like Battlestar Galactica. Prison mentality, we do more dirt than Attica. The fact that he managed to bring Battlestar Galactica into this in a cool way was also fucking dope. Slick like Rick slick like Bueller. It's fucking dope, man. Like, in overall, the quality of his rhymes is just absolutely great. I don't like the beat quite as much as the last one. Still a good beat, still above like regular shit. But once you're in the middle of an album review, you're comparing it to itself at that point. So 4.5 on 5. I really enjoyed this. I think this album has brought forth a super consistent sound. Like, I know that the rest of this album is going to have the same quality of rhymings. And I know that the rest of the beats are going to be in the same sphere of quality. And This album is like, I don't know, about 4 real songs in, and like, I don't think you're bored. Like, unless you're not into rhymes, in which case you're bored. But they're creative and they're interesting, and each of their flows bounces off of each other so fucking well.
Nice. Honestly, I don't have much to say that really tops what anything Holden says, but I do want to just make a comment on the, again, that creativity behind using certain sounds and samples, or even, like we said, their kids on the chorus, because for me, I really pictured, like, this cartoon town, like, you know, these super villains, Czarface and Ghostface, kind of just there, and they're kind of just like battle stance, like they've fought a little bit, they're kind of like taking a break, kind of recharging, you know, a little bit like that. And you got like the civilians, the kids, and everybody just kind of like looking up, and they're like chanting power, and they're kind of like not instigating the fight, but like admiring the abilities that these artists or these characters have, and appreciating them, even if they are villains or heroes, however you want to consider them to be. It was a cool, again, another cool imagery that was really created in my head. And now, like I keep saying, it could be just my imagination, but I do really appreciate what I am, like, what the music I'm getting so far is being able to do in on this album. So that was just something I want to touch on. I really enjoy the verses. They're very consistent. They're very, you know, kind of...
You know what they are? They're colorful like a box of 64 crayons.
Yes, they are. I gave the track a 4.3. I really enjoyed it.
All right, the next one is Masked Superstars.
Now, the flow like a sniper shot took your woofers out.
Like, you just get hit with these heavy bass, like doo 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 doo, kind of like just really pulsating notes. Like, it's really meant to, like, it's more like what I feel you would get out of a score, trying to set your emotional tone for tension. And then you got those hard hitting drums, like they just smack you in the fucking face, drums coming in, and it's really reminiscent of that like old school drum machine sound, you know. And then this song, if I'm not mistaken, is a little bit different. No, it's basically the same kind of shit, but it is one of my favorites because the beat starts to do some fucking flip ups and shit right in the middle of it. You know what I mean?
It keeps changing, and the way that the dynamic ability of the beat is really cool.
But like in terms of like the lyrics and shit, it's dope. But I mean, you know what all the stripes on the sleeve mean? I straight up press him something like a steam clean. Yo, we the dream team. Check out the slam like you was Mean Gene. I mean, on the one hand, I kind of think I've heard all of those rhymes in a sense before on this album. On the other hand, I don't care because it just sounds fresh coming out of this like situation, right? Because they're rearranged in a way that makes them kind of new. Bodies on the set, I have the scene clean. I like it overall flows, and he brings it somewhere else different, and it's just fucking dope, you know? Overall, I like when he goes, the flow like a sniper. This is Inspector Deck, by the way. The flow like a sniper shot took your woofers out. I was like, that's pretty cool. It's like he managed to make a flow so powerful it destroys your speakers. That's pretty fucking dope. Anyway, whatever, the chorus cuts in and
It's an interlude.
Esoteric's like, yo, I'm gonna do some like regular shit. And then he just kicks in and he's like, really, like the boy alive, this boy alive. Fret flow, yes, he has, bro, no toy drive. Surgically a house the kids had to cap gear. And he does like a little thing. He says he rolls it out not like Louis C.K. If you remember, Louis C.K. unzipped his fly and started jerking it in front of some ladies. Anyway, I thought that, again, it's relevant. It's fresh. It's like touching.
His flow was unique too.
And then the interlude's like, come on, man, Esoteric, you didn't do anything and you didn't do it enough. He's like, okay. Is he man or menace? Head on the swole like Rocky Dennis, ego like Kurt Russell, the evilest words tussle. I'm like, damn, and he just keeps flowing it through. He rhymes it out proper. I like how he ends it. You welterweight base model Vespa, you can't afford to stream the band. Never mind drive a Tesla. And I'm like, damn. He's right. I can't afford a Tesla. I want a Tesla, but I can't. I thought it was proper. I really enjoyed this song. I feel like, honestly, this might be my favorite one on the album so far in terms of just the beat, in terms of everybody rhyming, in terms of the overall just feel of the song. I give this a 5 on 5. This is one of my favorite songs on the project.
Nice. The song's good. It has, it carries the same energy throughout the that we've been getting throughout the album. Now, what I've come to kind of understand is I kind of felt like this was a part of, like, let's say, call it the cinematic of the album, right? I kind of felt like Inspector Deck was giving us his, like, just kind of like he was thinking, like, this is what I've been through. This is the stripes that I've gotten. I'm trying to catch the money. I'm trying to make sure, stuff's all good. He's still giving us, like, this really, like, all these lyrical bars and stuff. But I feel like when Esoteric comes in and goes, the boy alive, this boy alive, I feel like he's saying, like, the way that they're presenting it for me is that maybe Czarface kind of got knocked out, and the first verse is like Inspector Deck kind of just like laying there thinking, like, in his head about like what's happening and kind of like giving him that adrenaline to get back up and stuff like that. And then again, Esoteric comes in with that more like tricky, kind of hard, intense flow. And he's like, the boy lives, the boy's alive, and he comes in, and he's like chopping up the flow, and he's going in kind of like really quick punches. I kind of get like that, and then it's kind of like a real fight, and kind of goes in the quick punching, does what he has to do, and then I would assume like maybe there's like a little other break, and they're like, no, you're not finished. You gotta finish him. So then he goes in with a third verse, and he comes in and just like slaughters it. It was great. I'm having real fun with this album so far, and I think that's what I enjoy about Czarface and these characters, is that there's so much creativity and so much imagination you can use with this and have fun with it, that it gives another aspect to the album. I gave the song a 4.5.
Did you know that when you're playing World of Tanks, you can get a whole bunch of historically accurate tanks? Fuck, I wish we had a sponsor. Anyway, Morning Ritual is the next song.
I got that glow, and if a won't swallow, peace, nice to know.
So this one is what I thought I was talking about the last time. It's different. It's like maybe the only song on the album that to me is distinctly different in tone. Verse 1 has like Ghostface waking up in the morning. He stumbles over his gun and his vest is there and his jewels are still on, and he makes his way to the bathroom with his morning wood. And literally my favorite line on the album, 60-second piss felt like more like a nut. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when you wake up in the morning and you have to pee, is that not like one of the best feelings on earth? It is. Thank you. So that's a good line that he put out there. Sunday morning church chick, let me hit it in. All right, I got questions for the mirror. The Bali's or the Wallows, Mirror answers. Desert ear, should I pound with the hollows? Hollows, the mirror answers. And then, or whatever, that was the ad-lib. And then he's like, what the fuck does it matter? You the flyest motherfucker from here on after, in this weird thing. And he just kind of goes on out. That's all right. Second verse gets more fun. So Esoteric slips out of his fucking bed and breaks his phone.
Did you Inspector Deck?
No, it's Esoteric. And he fucking slips out of his bed and he breaks his fucking phone. He cracks his screen. He can't see the score of the game. He passed out with the girl and whatever. His money clip's fucking missing. And he's like, yo, that's some funny shit. This girl must have took it. And then he goes, yo, mirror, what's the plan? And the mirror answers and tells him that girl stole your money, fam. So then he turns around and shoots the fucking mirror for snitching.
I think is a pivotal is a thing I want to talk about for a second. That is really down to the core gangster, I would say. Like, to follow the rule of no snitching, and essentially it's your conscience and it's your thought process that is technically talking to you in the mirror, right?
No, it's the mirror. It's magical. We're in a superhero fucking world.
I understand.
This mirror can be a really talking mirror, okay? In the context of a Czarface universe.
All right, I understand. I understand.
Otherwise, you're right. It could be self-conscious. So, like, what is that?
No, I'm not saying he kills himself, but like the fact that he, like, think of it in a self-conscious way. He's looking at himself in the mirror. His, like, the devil, angel, whatever you want to call it, is like kind of like
it's the fucking
talking
mirror.
to him and whatever, and then he kills.
It's the magic
he shoots.
mirror. Like in fairy tales.
All right, we're done here.
Like mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
I know that it's the magic mirror, but I'm saying like in like a metaphorical way, it's pretty cool. Like I kind of took it as a metaphorical way. It's cool that he's like he doesn't even trust his own conscience for snitching. Like that was just like a level of like snitches don't like you don't snitch.
I mean, I don't think it's his conscience in play. It's that wow, even though you magic mirror gave me the information I needed, you need to remember not to snitch. You shouldn't have done that. How can he trust his mirror anymore? Because his mirror would have snitched on
himself.
He's not the mirror. The mirror is like a reflection.
I'm talking metaphorically in the real world.
I'm talking in the world where a mirror can fucking talk to you. That mirror can talk to anybody else too, because the same mirror or a different mirror spoke to Ghostface.
Yes.
Mirrors evidently talk to you in this fucking universe, Chris. Or maybe it is a reflection of yourself. I don't think he snitches. I think he doesn't like snitches. But the best part of the song is when he catches up with the girl and he goes, yo, girl, you snatched my money like a necklace. Correct this. She said, I just went to get us breakfast. Oh, that was reckless. Sorry. Like, he really just kind of ends with the sorry. It was brilliant. It's a hilarious song to listen to, in my opinion. It's great storytelling, in my opinion. The beat's next level. 5 on 5. I really like this song.
But you know what? It also really kind of shows two different types of people. Like, Ghostface didn't really... I mean, I understand that, like, you know, his chains were on him and stuff like that, but it also felt like he didn't really have that much to worry about. Like, he has more of that, like, kind of laid-back attitude, whatnot. Now, like, in Esoteric, when like, you know, he wakes up, like, he was already... I felt like he was more driven to something. Like, he was pissed off that his phone screen broke. Yes, granted, I would be too, but following it up with, like, I couldn't see the score. Maybe he had money on the table, you know? Like, so I felt like there was more of, like... they were trying to show like two different types of people a little bit. That's what I kind of caught.
I mean, I agree with that. There definitely had different tones to the verses, but it's like this is like Czarface and Ghostface morning routine. The hero and the villain waking up in the morning. This is how their days start.
Fair enough. I give the song a 4.3.
I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. The next one though is the Super Soldier Serum.
And dusty, girls be flirty and lusty, dirty and busty. The flow rare like.
All right, Chris, how do you feel about this one?
It was cool. It was the same. That it kind of, not the same, but it had the same, again, that same consistency, that energy, that flow with it. The beat was a little bit not as extremely kind of hyper, but it was still a good, pretty cool beat. First one, we've got Inspector Deck. You know, he kind of comes in, check me out, yo, the first 100,000, I'm fast to go shopping, blow stacks, you know, hopping, my flag, she's show stopping. Like, it's more of that, like, this is kind of my swagger, this is what we're up to, this is what we do. You know, he's after them bankrolls, he's chasing it, so he's still got that mentality of trying to get the money and making sure that, you know, everything is on point, and still kind of the same thing of what we've been getting, so that was cool. Esoteric. I always want to say esocentric for some reason, but Esoteric. You know, he kind of gives us his version of what he's doing. There's a line here. Oh, you take the largest L cause loser's hard to spell without it. I'm part sleek and fly, part geeky guy that's like CGI, part smack you. I don't need a reason why he could lie on your sweetie pie thinking Caesar 5. Like that wordplay is so dope. The syllable play is dope, but you still get that sense of like he's reckless. He's kind of just out here doing what he's got to do. He's being that supervillain. So that was super cool. That was something I enjoyed as well. Ghostface, he came in and did his thing as well on verse 3. There wasn't really anything for me that kind of stood out from his verse, but I liked how he kind of kept that his character alive was still there.
I like that Ghostface brought up Maxwell Smart. Get Smart was a good show. Go on.
Like I'm low-key like a government official, deep under the surface like a piece of bone gristle. No keys to the entrance, just facial scanning and a 2.6 chandelier with cameras and the bearskin rug programmed to attack. Anyway, like it was cool to get, again, that imagery of...
He has a okay, if you ever played a game where you have to divide like an evil genius kind of base, you always need traps, and he's got the perfect trap, a fly-ass bearskin rug for a rapper. It turns into a robot bear that fucks you up.
Yeah, it's a crate and that creative imagery and what they're doing. I like how he is, again, being consistent with this comic book character, and he's like, I'm a supervillain and this is what I got, and that was really, really cool. I enjoyed the song. Personally, I gave it a 4 on 5. It was good.
All right, just to go back to Ghostface, right after bringing up Super Agent Maxwell Smart, he follows up with Daniel Craig, Casino Royale, I'm So Slick. So he's got double super agent moves because that's James Bond if you didn't actually know. Anyway, I also like the Braveheart line from fucking Esoteric. That was pretty dope. In general, I feel like this song is everything in terms of the rhyming, what it's supposed to be. Like, if you take Inspector Deck, Benny Blanco from the box and make him remember me, let your hands hit the ceiling, your mountains with the dealings, old habits like Hank Williams, they mad, they in their feelings. It's the same kind of tone, same kind of reference-driven shit. Everything about it is fine, except that I did not really enjoy this beat as much as the other ones. This is the first beat on the album. I'm like, not 100% sure I'm feeling this one as much. So I gave it a 4.25 on 5 because while I recognize this is a quality song and this is all my preferences in regards to beats and the overall sound, I don't know. The song was overall good. It's really just preference. So anyway, the next one on this album is The King Heard Voices. I think Ghostface hits it spot on when he goes, this sound like I'm in a haunted fucking church or something right now, with the way that beat comes in with that like glaring haunting feel. And it's just creepy. It's just nice. And then I just like how he starts off, Ghostface there, with, Ayo, my glass rhyme's bulletproof, my bullets got glass tips. So I started picturing that. So say you do have a bunch of lead with a glass tip thing, and the glass is going to shatter and just like fucking spread everywhere. I don't know if that's a real thing. Is that a thing? Like, is that what a certain type of bullet is like? I don't know. I'm not that big on bullets. My guns are so big that they dislocate hips. Okay. Does the size of a gun matter that much? I don't really know a lot about guns. Slip disc, leave a mangled like gorillas in the mist, and your rib cage get caved like you was punched with an iron fist. Twisted, mind state's evil genius. Overall, it's great, man. I feel like the flow, he hits it really, really proper. He fucking sounds hard. He just sounds like he doesn't give a shit in like that proper go in hard kind of way.
I think that's part of the...
But like, yo, lay wood, sip an ice cold bottle of Guinness, and have your bitch suck me off till the beer is finished. So in that moment, I wanted to know if like he hasn't come yet and he finishes the beer. Is that like the moment when she stops sucking him? Or is it like he's ejaculating at the exact moment that like the beer is being finished?
This is something you want to know.
Very much so, yes. Otherwise, it's whatever. That is a less cool I fucked your girl line than the other one. But I really like Kendra Morris's hook there. It's just creepy, like far inside my drifting head. The stories that I ever read, they take me there. And you just get the sense that like on that, it's like a juxtaposition of like, these are some corrupt, dark thoughts that then fuel what these rhymes are actually going to be. But even like Inspector Deck's dope. Like, greatness is nothing. I'm like the next Nike ad. If you remember, Kaepernick's Nike ad was a big fucking deal. Define me bad. I bring all hell like wifey mad. Oh shit. When you piss off your girl, that is all mad. You know, it is all bad. It is exactly that. My soul sonic force, I make the planet rock. I believe that's an old school hip hop reference right there. Loud pack rap. Hear it from half a block. It's just overall, you feel the culture, you feel the skill. It's really enjoyable to listen to. Esoteric comes in, and I feel like whereas the other two kind of have a slower pace flow, he comes in again with that like harder flow. So it's almost good to have him almost at the end to kind of like elevate the flow spectrum to a different place. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I can't say that there's anything in here that was like super next level in terms of what he said, but I really, really just enjoyed listening to him come at it. So overall, this track is another 4.5. I think it's really consistent with this project, and I think that the way the beat flip up here happens, and the beats do change a lot. Like, they don't all sound the same. Like, every song kind of has a certain feel to it. That's a combination of like like, because the rappers are so consistent, it's almost like the beats have to be shifting up. So how are they going to bring it on this beat becomes more the question than, you know, whatever else. So it was a necessary thing to do that. And I think this is one of the more out there beats on the album. And it just shows their versatility and being able to take that, like literally do the exact same thing on this beat and make it work. I think that's really cool.
Nice. I enjoyed the song. It was cool. They came in with the same type of bars, the same not the same punchlines, but like coming in swinging, going at it. I do like though the idea of how they're kind of releasing their inner thoughts a little bit, that kind of like fears them or kind of drives what these lyrics are coming from. And again, still thinking of the Ghostface cartoon character and the Czarface character, I guess it's more like a descriptive song in terms of building why these guys are villains and what they kind of go through and how they think in terms of their like evil plans or plotting. So that's kind of what I took away from that. There wasn't really many lines that I really were like, oh, that was really cool. They're pretty solid. They're pretty solid. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say these guys don't know what they're doing. This is really good music. I left it with a 4.3.
I forgot to say that the beat flips up a whole bunch in this one. It's not just like that one sound. Like the second Inspector Deck goes lean on him, it's like a completely different song for half a second. And I thought that was really fucking cool. Anyway, the next one is Listen to the Color.
Yeah.
So something I forgot to mention is on a couple of them, I think Iron Claw is one of them, like at the end, it's like the beat just changes and plays out for like 30 seconds on its own. And they're really good with that kind of shit, almost giving
a little break
7L as much an opportunity to shine on the album as any of the rappers would have. Listen to the Color does not feature Ghostface. It is in fact the other two basically doing 2 verses each. And I feel like these are some of the best verses that we're going to get on the album. You have Inspector Jack just kind of like almost calling back and being proper. And he's doing fine. Like everything on this verse is just kind of fine. And then you have Esoteric coming in, and I feel like again it's just this like, I don't know. I said it's pretty proper, but I mean like it feels concise. It feels like it grows, and the way that the beat evolves with each verse is pretty dope. But I really like when Esoteric's like, Excelsior like a painting Stan Lee blessed. SoundCloud rappers all can take your last breath. Rappers got no arms like a motherfucking ski mask. I'm a lion that'll eat flesh. You would clown on the mic. Ryan Seacrest.
Ooh.
Ryan Seacrest is a fucking clown on the mic. Fight me, Ryan Seacrest, if you see this. Anyway, it just kind of flows on through. Xenomorphs witness my alien flow from space. Like, that's freaking dope. Thought they had a case for cultural appropriation. Turns out he's not a black guy. He's pretty white. But he's pretty hip-hop. They were wrong. The Game. I put my foot in there. Used to get excited about my record being in Newbury. Now I got my book in there? Dude, I'd be way more excited about having a book for sale at this point. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so he kind of flows on through, and I'm like, okay, that was really fucking cool. And then it flips into Inspector Deck, and he's just killing it again. Check it. I've been doing it since Leather Palmers and Deuce Flicks, in 2 years ahead of what y'all calling the new shit. Okay, I don't know about that, but he's definitely really good. He was years ahead of it. I don't know if he still is. This sounds not like the new shit to me, but that's fine. Combine a phrase, design a game shit. I've been schooling kids for free before LeBron James. Oof. And that's when I really started thinking about that shit. It's like they have been doing this kind of stuff all there. Now it's like maybe certain people are getting it cool, but if you really dig back, you see that kind of stuff, you know? This was just a hobby from the lobby. This wasn't supposed to be a body. This was routine. The fish scale on a triple bean. Scene. And then Esoteric kicks in with that last verse. Mic check. 1, 2. I know I'm stressing you. Like how the Brits say jaguar. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm glad you're realizing just how big a jag you are. That's fucking funny. And it just rolls on through, and it's really great. I really like it. I mean, he literally says pterodactyl in the verse. I avoid political spench, and truthfully, the only Breitbart I know is Simpson. Oof, because Breitbart's some scummy ass shit. And the only Breitbart really is Bart Simpson based on that. Anyway, this song is dope. I really enjoyed it, but it took me like 2 or 3 listens to really get into it. But once I did, I really fell to love it. So I gave it a 4.5.
I just wanted to comment on the line, this was just a hobby from the lobby. This wasn't supposed to be a body. This was just routine for the fish scale on the triple beam scene. And I like that type of passion, like the idea that and for me, I'm taking it as Czarface. I'm taking that Czarface, the creation, was something that there was just a hobby for them. But now, like, because, you know, people fell in love with it and there's time shifting or whatnot, like, they're really kind of going forth with that, and that really shows like the dedication to music and the passion and giving, you know, the fans or even just kind of maybe entertaining themselves with their creations and letting their mind flow free. So that was really, really cool. That's something I really enjoy hearing in music. Overall, I do agree. The song's really, really great. They're consistent with what they're doing. I do agree that for me, it did take me pretty much a long time to listen to it. I had to take a couple listens again and again and again to really get into it. And I just think that, it's more my preference of music. Like, this has been, there's like 2 tracks left? Or, yeah, there's been a lot of the same type of energy, the same... Not the same sound, not the same tone, but the same energy, consistency, the same in-your-face punchlines coming bar after bar after bar. Yes, we did get that one break with the whole like morning routine thing, but I think for me, I'm kind of starting to be like, okay, bars for days. I get it. I'm there, but that doesn't take away of how good of the song it is. I gave it a 4.2.
All right. Who is ready to try out some Mongolian Beef?
Hazmat. Hip-hop hero.
Yep. I don't know if like Mongolian Beef in and of itself is particularly slang for anything. So if you guys do know and want to educate, feel free to hit up that comment sections. But I love Ghostface just starting us off. You can see the weakness of a man through his iris. Completely agree. Look somebody in the eye. See what happens. It's interesting. You can see the weakness through your coke right through the Pyrex. You should speak to me instead of speaking interdirect. Because me no understand the stupid doodoo. Do your dolly. Put the toodle to your noodle for I shoot you. You say house sway. I don't know. It just goes on from there. It's fucking really interesting and really cool. Like, I feel like he came on a very different flow and then brought up a particularly relevant keyword. Sucky now. Empire thinking about fucking cookie now. I guess everybody's thinking about Empire right now, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, Spected Deck does the next verse. It's pretty proper. I like when he goes Robert Downey style, treat him less than zero. It's pretty good because Robert Downey does the Iron Man, but Robert Downey also has a bit of an interesting past the more you look into it. Live in the G code, green like Rico Harlem, official bomb squad, folk on the weed smoke, murder he wrote, behold he quote, truth swallow it whole, that's a deep throat. That's an interesting way to flip some shit around in a quasi-homo kind of way, but still, it's pretty cool. Don't come at me in the comments for that. I was just making a little jokesy. Yeah, anyway, Esoteric does the third verse. It's pretty girl. And then Pharrell, you the fake of the year. What you quote, unquote, create, that don't cure aches for the year. I don't know if it's for Pharrell Pharrell Williams. It kind of looked like Pharrell, but it could also be for real. I don't know. I was reading on Genius when somebody wrote Pharrell, and then I realized it could also be for real. Anyway, I still kind of like the fact that he's pulling out some bullshit, calling people directly what it is. Same kind of stuff we've seen. The flow more tight than a kid's mind on Fortnite. I've seen how tight these kids' minds get with Fortnite. These people who can't apply themselves for anything can give you complex strategies on Fortnite. Motherfucker. Anyway, Fortnite's fine.
Complex strategies.
Yeah, man. You think Ninja got to be number one on his own, dog? No, you got to study that shit. Anyway, I'm being a little sarcastic, but I'm really not. There's like education programs in place to train your kids to be better Fortnite players.
Fucked.
I spike like a Guardian Ward fight. Anyway, it's pretty dope. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed this song. I think we're right at that like perfect level for this album. It's another 4.5 on 5.
I enjoy the song. I left it with a 4. I feel, again, it's consistent. It's hard-hitting. Everybody's kind of coming in, doing what they got to do. I really enjoy Ghostface and how much energy he's got and the clever funness that he's got to his verse. I like Inspector Deck, how, he kind of keeps that. Again, I like how Inspector Deck's always just been this, like, very more mental person. This very, like, lyrical, and I'm all this, and this, and this. And he's more into, like, being, like, the brains of the operation. So that's cool. And, Esoteric, he does his thing, and he comes in with his flows, and he's tearing shit up and doing what he's got to do. So I really enjoy it. I think that this is really... like when you want to sit down and listen to this album, this is good. This is good. But again, for me, I left it with a 4. Yeah, 4.
That's fair. It can't be stressed enough, and I don't think we did, that not only are these guys delivering dope lines, they're doing it in a really dope way. Like, each of them knows how to break up a flow. Like, it's one thing to drop a line like, the cat and the hat went to the bat or whatever, but like they're doing it in a way where it's like the cat and the bat went to the hat. Like each of these things is chopped up, and they're saying each individual piece to like perfect the flow and make it bounce off. And I find that the more I listen to certain rappers, some people can like do a whole line, but not everybody can pristinely drop every syllable on point. And they can when it's like, I mean, that's a flow where it's probably not that hard to make everything on point. But they're doing it in a more conversational style where they can literally flip up the rhythm in the middle of a conversation, kind of like what I literally just did there. And doing it all on point, making everything fucking work, and being creative with it. And I think that is a really cool thing that we're starting to see more of, and if the haters would promote, we'd see a lot more of. Anyway, the last song on this project is the post-credits scene. I really like when Inspector Dex just starts off the second verse with never heard of your swag, never knew your swag, make a move, I'll put 2 in your swag, still running at the mouth, either stupid or mad, see the general stripes W on the flag. And I like that, because I've had a couple of actual just like real life encounters with people who just kept running their mouth, and I realized that they're both stupid and mad. Because how else are you gonna come at people who don't? So what I took from this is he's operating at this level.
Right.
Everybody else is swagging up at this level.
Right.
And when you're swagging at this level, but you're playing at this level, in this context, I'm playing my life at this level, and these people are playing in this level. Well, they come at me, and I destroy them verbally, like, yo, that's not cool. I don't really like you or respect what you're doing. And then they just run their mouth at you, and you're like, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. I don't have to like you. Fuck off. I didn't even say fuck off. I was politer. And they just kept running mouths. That's all they do. Run mouths. See, the way he puts it, you're either stupid or mad. I thought that was really cool. It flows on through. It's the same kind of thing. And I really just kind of enjoyed it, I also really like Esoteric. He flows on through. I like how he's like fresh in the game at Jason Tatum up, like live guy, no glasses, got my LASIK up. It made me jealous because I want to get LASIK, but I just like how he's just kind of just comes off fly, fresh, almost revitalized, ready to come. And you just kind of get left with this sense that Czarface left you with this little outro, and that you're gonna get more. And there was just a little like goodbye outro, little snippet. I give it a 4.25. I feel like it was like almost a song or almost there. It works as an outro, but it was less enjoyable than most of the rest of this album for me.
It was a cool way for me to, and it was a cool way for me how they kind of just like left the scene. They kind of, I feel like this is the end of the movie, the end of the album, and they're kind of just like they've done the whole credits thing, and now they're just kind of giving you that little like kind of like what Marvel does. They give you that little snippet of maybe like a next movie or something like that, or a little hint of what's going on. So I feel like that's what this is. This is just a quick little piece, and they're just kind of doing their little thing, and maybe you'll get another Czarface, maybe not. That's kind of how I took that. I left it with a 4. I thought it was good. I thought it was consistent. It even with being like a post-credit song or something like that, it was all fits perfectly, and it's a nice way to wrap up the album.
Fair enough. I mean, for the album itself, I give this a 4.57. Like, I don't know if I can call this like a classic, like it's gonna stand out in the test of time. But for this era of music, this decade, we'll say, this is a tight fucking hip-hop album. This is some shit where, like, there's no way you can listen to this, in my opinion, being like a hip-hop head who's really into the culture from what I've seen, and not be like, yo, this is it. This is some dope shit being dropped. If you look at like Meth Lab Season 2, that was another dope one. Like, there's so much good shit coming out. But the production on this album is stellar. Excellent scratch work. Like, it really just feels organic. It really feels like somebody combed through every second of the song and made sure it was what it needed to be. Ghostface Killah, Esoteric, and Inspected Deck each bring pristine rhyming, excellent experience. Like, these are guys who clearly are like vets, just dropping almost a template of how to do a proper old-timey album, and they did it in 2019. I'm really blown away by it. I like this album. The fact that like everything is so consistently good is really dope. The beats change up a bit throughout, which you need. The rappers are fucking dope, and like I just don't see anything wrong with it. Will it be something that the pop crowds get behind? Nah, but they don't want that. So for the people who really want hip-hop in its more pure and traditional sense to thrive, you just kind of got to bump this shit. You got to like look for it. And instead of saying shit like fuck mumble rap and putting Nicki Minaj up in fucking memes and shit, say listen to Czarface Meets Ghostface. It's a dope album and you should give it a listen. That's what I'm going to end it with, because that's how I think it should be left.
I enjoyed the album. I gave the album a 4.2. I think it was really creative. The only thing for me is that I think that it's more enjoyable to listen to than to study it. I don't like, I know it's heavily bars after bars, and that's kind of what these guys do, and this is part of their thing, and I respect that 100%. I guess again it comes down to just preference. I think for me, I could play this over and over again in terms of like wanting to escape reality and just zone out into this like cartoon world and just kind of do my own thing, play games or whatever. That's cool, but I think for me, in terms of studying this, it just felt a little bit like, okay, I see that. That's a cool line. You kind of said that before, and that's just my own personal opinion. Other than that, the album's great. It's a 4.2 for me.
All right. Well, thank y'all for watching. It really means the world to us that you take the time to check these out, share our little journey with us. Definitely leave us a comment, and I promise you we're a small enough channel that I'll answer everybody who drops a comment. We can have a little conversation in there. If you put 15 comments, you'll get at least 15 replies from me. Unless it's just spam requests. Sometimes I don't always answer those. Like, request this, I don't want to hear this, I don't want to hear that. Those ones I might not answer everyone. I'll answer a couple. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Pratt of Super Old School 1994, Linda Williams, and Carl J. They're dope. They support what we do. They also care about taking the time to like really delve into albums and just like try to appreciate the culture. And we want to get to a point where we can do this full time, not have to do day jobs, get even more love out for the fucking whole everybody out there, find even more reviews. And so by supporting us like that, you help us get there quicker. Plus we can spend more time with shit over time, better gear, it looks nicer, all that good shit. You also get to tell us what to review. Patreon gets to priority with the requests. get access to content early. We've got a public Discord and a Patreon only Discord, and I don't know what to do with Discord, so we'll work on that as time goes on. And yeah, I also dropped a project recently. I'll be finishing up another one soon, so you can check all that out in the description of this video. I meant like a music project, a rap, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, you can let me know what you think of that, and yeah, we'll be back with more reviews soon, so peace, love, and all that good shit.